Hello, I'm Miss Tell It Like It Is. I hope everybody's doing wonderful out there. I'm doing wonderful. Okay. And for y'all that are having difficulties in life, I'm here to encourage you that it's going to be okay. Things will get better. Okay. Today, I'm going to be talking about some very sensitive content. So I will say parental suggestion advised. It's not for children, period. Adult conversation. Before I get started, I'm going to ask that you all please subscribe to my channel. I am a baby YouTuber, okay? Which means that I need you all to subscribe to me. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Today's topic is going to be very personal. And some of you may ask me, why would you share this on social media? And I'm sharing it because there's somebody out there who is going through what I once went through, okay? Some people would say, well, aren't you afraid of people judging you? And my answer is no, I'm not. I'm not afraid because I have a testimony. And when you have a testimony, you share because you are an overcomer. And if you have a love for people like I do, you want others that are going through what you once went through, you want them to be an overcomer too. See, the difference between me and a lot of people is that I have a big heart for humanity. So I'm not afraid of being judged. I've already been judged in my life, so hey. Today's topic is called When You Are a Slave to Your Sexual Impulses. And I can talk about it because I was once a slave to my sexual impulses. In fact, I strongly believe that I was a sex addict. And I will tell you why. There are reasons behind why I was a sex addict, which I will not get into this video today. You will have to come back and listen to why. Okay, that'll be another video. If anybody ever told me that I would be saying this to everybody on social media, I would never believe it, right? Because this is a taboo topic and it's something that many people wouldn't open up about themselves. But like I said, I am an overcomer, and I would like to see those who have the struggle that I once had. I would like you all to be an overcomer, especially if you have come to realization that being a sex addict is a real problem. It's a real issue, and it is a real addiction, just like any other addiction. It is just as powerful as drugs, alcohol, people that like to steal, or any kind of addiction. It is an addiction. And I'm not coming from a doctor or medical standpoint. I'm coming from what I lived. I can tell you from experience And what is that saying? Life is our best teachers, right? I can't, if I had never experienced being a sex addict, I can't talk to other sex addicts because I wouldn't be able to relate to them. But I can. I can relate to sex addicts because I once was one. It used to be a time when I was in my 20s, 30s. It started before about the age of 20. Every morning I woke up. The first thing on my mind was sex. How was I going to get it for that day? Where was I going to get it? When was I going to get it? And how fast I was going to get it? It was like a driven impulse. That was how I started my day. And along with those impulses came fantasies. And I'm not going to lie, I was ashamed. You know, but yet still I was still driven. And my sex addiction was, of course, to other adults, okay? Not kids, because I hate that, okay? I hate anybody that's into children. It's uncalled for, okay? But my addiction was, it's uncalled for and it's sick, okay? My addiction was that I had to have someone every day to have sex with. And it didn't matter if it was someone I didn't know. It could be a complete stranger. And it was always a spontaneous act. It was never really planned. It was thought about, but it was never planned with a specific person. And the funny thing about it is, well, it wasn't funny, but the ironic thing about it was is that my energy back then tend to attract other sex addicts. It's like we would know each other. I could go out in the public and I could feel who had that same spirit. And a conversation would get striked up, and then the next thing you know, I was somewhere having sex. And if I am slipping up a little bit, it's because it is a difficult thing to admit. But it's needed. It's needed. And the thing about being a sex addict or an ex-sex addict is you never remember who you slept with. You never remember. Because a lot of times you don't know who you slept with. And when you're a sex addict, you really don't care about who it is. It's just the fact that you could sleep with someone and achieve that emotional high. That's what it was like. It was like every time I would sleep with someone, I would feel like I got high, like someone that was doing drugs. And there were times that I felt ugly and I felt dirty about what I did. But yet and still I was a slave to those sexual impulses. When they hit me, it was like I had to go out there and sleep with someone. And I know a lot of y'all are probably wanting to judge me and say, oh, well, you were just a hoe. No, I wasn't. I was a good person with a good heart. My addiction stems from being molested at 3. Being molested at 3 years old. And you know the thing about it, y'all, I didn't even remember it. I blocked it out. I didn't remember anything that happened to me until I was like 38 years old. I was driving one day and it all started playing back in my mind like a movie. It was so strong until I literally had to pull over into a neighborhood park and park there. And when I began to remember all the details, I just had tears streaming down my eyes. I couldn't believe it. I had blocked it out all those years. I'm literally sweating as I'm telling this story. I realized how when you are abused as a child, that it can affect your adulthood and the things that you do. Because I'm not going to lie, you all, I judged myself. I didn't like to be driven with these sexual impulses. And I didn't understand why I was so promiscuous. So when I remembered at the age of 38 what had happened to me, because it all started rushing back to me, that I was molested at 3 by a babysitter. Then the puzzles all begin to come back together, you all. Why I was so promiscuous. And I believe I was promiscuous because I had a trapped child trapped within my spirit. See, when I was a child, and I began to remember when I was a child, I began to remember how I felt. I felt dirty. I felt dirty. Excuse me. And confused. I couldn't understand why the babysitter did to me what she was doing. But yet and still, she made me feel like I was doing something good. I was doing her a service. And once I did what she asked me to do, she rewarded me with a cookie. And she told me, "You made me very proud. Thank you." She also told me not to tell anybody. She threatened that she would kill my parents. But that she loved my parents. And she really didn't want to kill my parents, but that she would if I told. So I remember her telling me, "You promised me you won't tell your parents." And I said, "I promise." I remember so well. A part of me as a child, I wanted to tell my parents, but I didn't know how. I didn't know how to tell my parents that this lady was touching me, and I was scared to tell them, you all. I was scared to tell them because I didn't want my parents to die, because that's what she told me she would do to my parents. So I kept that in. And I remember there were times as a kid I tried to visualize that this lady was my friend, that she meant well, and I was supposed to make her happy. So there were times when I was being abused that I felt like if I didn't make her happy, I was a failure. And as a kid, I became confused, and I confused that abuse with love. And so therefore, my being promiscuous, you all, was a result of me reliving my abuse through all these different people that I slept with. I had that inner child within me that was still trying to please others like I once had pleased my abuser. And that inner child that was stuck within me felt like having sex was a form of true love. And it wasn't. It wasn't. It was a false sense of love. And because this lady had took my innocence at 3, I got confused. She took my innocence and she broke down my self-esteem. And when you're abused at a young age like that, when your innocence is taken away from you at a young age, those monsters tear down your self-esteem. So therefore, you grow up as an adult with a low self-esteem, for some that get abused, an addiction, a sexual addiction, and you look for love in all the wrong places. And what I'm telling you, it may help somebody out there that went through something like I went through or something worse. You may wonder, why are you promiscuous? Why are you driven by these sexual impulses? You may not know. You may have blocked it out somewhere. And a lot of times, I feel like when the mind blocks out things, it's because it would be too traumatic to realize what happened to you. So it's the way of the universe letting you block it out until you're ready to accept what happened to you. And at 38, I was ready to accept it, even though it was painful. And it's still painful talking about it. But the thing is, you can't heal from any addiction until you know the root problem of your addiction. And the root problem to my being a sex addict stemmed from me being abused at a young age. And so I can talk about this because I lived the life of a sex addict. Am I a sex addict today? No. I thank God for that. I do. And this is juicy juice, y'all. Not alcohol, which is nothing wrong with a little drinking. But anyway, that's why it's so important not to judge people. There's so many judgmental people in this world that love to judge people. They love to call people names. Oh, look how promiscuous he is. Look how promiscuous she is. You don't know what happened to them people. A lot of people just don't wake up and say today they're just going to be, promiscuous. It came from somewhere. It came from somewhere, you all. But I think the Creator that He delivered me. And it took me to realize that sex is not love. But love is learning to love myself. Sex was a false sense of love, and sex or intimacy or making love should be shared between two people who really love each other. And I'm not going to lie, I got healed because I wanted to be set free. I realized that I had very destructive behavior and that my behavior was going to end up causing me illness if I didn't stop. Because there were times I protected myself and there were times I didn't. When you have a sexual addiction, you don't think about protecting yourself all the time. You act out on impulse. And I believe a lot of my sexual addiction ways was a way to bandage or put a band-aid on the pain. It was a way to physically and mentally escape the pain through this fantasy world, through this world of excitement every time you meet someone new, and they would have that same spirit, because it seemed like they would know. It's like your eyes would meet, and it's like you wouldn't even have to say anything to that person. They already knew. That took a lot to tell you all. That wasn't easy. And there's more to come. But for now, I'm just tell it like it is. For all of you all who are struggling with sexual addiction and you don't like what you are, you don't have to be that. You don't have to be there. But it's one day at a time. The first step is realizing that you have a problem. That's the first step. The second step is asking yourself, what are you going to do to work on solving your problem? And it's a day-to-day work. It doesn't just happen overnight. Like I said, it's many addictions. It's more than just drug addictions. The most important thing is to realize is that putting a band-aid on your pain is not going to make the pain go away. But facing that pain, when you're ready, because nobody can tell you when to face your pain, is the key. And loving yourself and not blaming yourself for anything that may have happened to you as a child. Because we, as children, are not responsible for when adults take advantage of us. We are not responsible. Adults are supposed to be here to protect us, not to hurt us. So don't blame yourself, because it wasn't your fault. See, I had to tell myself it wasn't my fault, because I carried that guilt around thinking it was my fault as a child. I did. I remember so well, you all. It's crazy how the mind can unlock things that happened to you so many years ago as if it was yesterday. I remember how I felt as a child, how I blamed myself, how as a little girl I thought, I'm so nasty, so nasty. And it was all a lie. It was all a lie. I was never nasty. I was a beautiful little girl taken advantage of. This is an intense topic. And I'm sharing it for somebody to know that you're not alone. I know I don't have to open up my life. But I know by doing so, it will help somebody out there. I want to tell every victim out there, hang on. You will make it. You will survive. I'm just telling it like it is. You all have a wonderful day. I will. And these tears are tears of releasing what I've held in, you all. These tears are not tears of despair. These tears are not tears of sadness, but these tears are tears of healing. See, a lot of people, or some people, think that crying is a sign of weakness. No, crying is a sign of strength. Crying is deliverance. When you can cry, you can heal. You have to let it out. You can't hold it in. If you want to cry, cry. Cry. Let it out. It's not a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of vulnerability. It's a sign of strength, because you can still cry and be strong. You can still cry and be a warrior of survival, an overcomer. I'm strong. I am strong. And I thank the universe for making me that way. Because that's the only way I could tell this story, you all. And not worry about being judged, because I'm not afraid to be judged. Because no one knows me better than God who created me. Okay? So take care. I hope somebody got something out of this. It's not for you to feel hopeless or sad, because there is hope for you. Okay? Lift your head up and be happy. Tulu. I'm just telling it like it is. Subscribe to my channel. I have more to come.